Other videos in this series illustrate how you can group by a date field in a pivot table. They also show how you can group on a numeric field in a fairly natural way. This video illustrates one other grouping option, grouping by selection. This is useful if the field you want to group by has a lot of categories that can be divided into natural subsets. To illustrate, I will use the customer orders dataset you see here. I have already created a pivot table that shows the sum of amount paid broken down by product. However, there are a lot of products, and it might be nice to group them in some way. If there were a natural grouping, I would use it. But to illustrate the method, I will simply group alphabetically, A to H, I to R, and S to Z. To start, I will select the products in the A to H group and click the Group Selection button on the Analyze ribbon. This does two things. First, it adds a group name, Group 1, which I will rename as A to H. Second, it adds a new outer field called Product 2 to the rows area. This does not add a new Product 2 column to the dataset, but it does add this new field to the pivot cache. As you can see, each product from I down is also grouped. But each of these groups has only a single product. I can collapse any of these groups, particularly the first one, to save space. Next, I will select all the groups and individual products from I to R. I will again click Group Selection, and I will rename the new group I to R. Then I will repeat to create the S to Z group. Now I can expand or collapse any of the groups. Take a look at the new Product 2 field. It acts basically like any other field. First, I will rename it as Product Group in the Analyze ribbon. Second, this field is probably in its most natural position where it is now, in the rows area as an outer field for the product field. However, it can be moved around. I will first move it to the filters area. Then I can filter by any of the groups. Alternatively, I can move it to the columns area. This doesn't provide a very helpful report, but it is possible. I can even drag this field off the pivot table altogether to get back where I started. However, it is still in the fields list, and when I drag it back, the groupings are still remembered. In summary, if a categorical field has a lot of categories that fall into natural subsets, then the grouping by selection option can be quite useful. This is somewhat similar to creating a calculated item, as discussed in another video in this series, but grouping by selection is quicker and easier.